Okay, I'm going to take you through changing the rear wheel bearing on a 98 Subaru Impreza station wagon with got the drum brakes on the back, so they're a little bit different to the disc brakes. So this is the tools that I used. This vice grip here, make sure you got a nice curved edge, because it's going to use this to clamp off the brake lines so the air doesn't go back up when you undo the brake lines. We've got 8mm spanner for bleeding the brakes, 10mm spanner for undoing the brake lines, 17mm spanner, 19mm spanner. Little flat blade like this comes in handy for just flicking little things off. We've got a hammer, always a good thing. You don't need two rattle guns, just I use the smaller one for the smaller bolts. And the sockets I have here is two 12mm. I've got a 19, a 17 and a 32mm for the hub nut or the wheel axle shaft nut, and got a torque wrench here for doing up that the axle shaft nut when we put it back together, which is pretty important. So I'll try and talk you through this the best I can, because I've done the other side and now I thought I would videotape this side. So yeah, really it's my second time that I've done one, so we'll see how we go. I probably shouldn't have to be telling people this, but when you jack the car up, make sure you put the stands under the back there. And also, if you come around the front here, just put some chocks under the front wheels there. And leave the car in gear. Okay, so I've got the wheel off. I don't need to explain how to get the wheel off. If you don't know how to get the wheel off a car, you definitely shouldn't be attempting to change your wheel bearings. Okay, so now we've got to get the axle shaft retaining nut off. It's just got this little bit that's bent over in here. You've got to get the screwdriver under it and lever it up, and we'll give it a bit of a bash. I've got like a small chisel here to get under there. You don't need to worry about if you butcher this a little bit, because a new one comes in the pack. Okay, now you want to put the handbrake on to get this nut off. And this will be the should be the first nut that you attempt to take off. Leave all the other ones in. Torque wrench out. Like that, just crack it. And then you can go to your rattle gun. now that you got that nut off. Okay, we've got the two top strut bolts. They're 19mm. Then you've got this bolt down here, and it's a long bolt that goes all the way through the other side, nut on the other side. That's also a 19mm. You want to leave the strut bolts in until you loosen this one off, because it's quite tight. And then you have another one down the bottom here, and this one is a 17. Okay, then you have the ABS sensor there, that's a 12mm. It's got to come out, undo that, and it just slides out easy. And this brake line down there, the handbrake cable, that's got to come out. That little clip on the side needs to be levered up, and it'll just pop out, but we'll run you through that. Okay, so next thing we need to undo is the brake line. So you want to get a clamp on there. This doesn't need to be super tight, it's just clamp the hose to stop the air from running back up. Now make sure you clamp it in a way that it's not, not annoying you while you're working, because it's going to be there the whole time. Okay, so that's our brake cable there. That's the brake line. It's the first one we're going to undo. It's a 10mm, and there's there's the second one down here, and that's the bleeding nipple. So 10mm spanner on there. It's a little bit hard while you're holding the camera at the same time. You need two hands. Okay, so I got that cracked. Just undo it like that. Undo both pipes, and then it makes it easier to be able to undo them individually. You can just screw them off by your hand if they're both loose. Okay, so brake line's done. Now we're going to get the drum off. So the drum's going to need a little bit of tapping with a hammer. You don't have to hit it very hard, but just like that. Oh, sorry, you've got to let the handbrake off. Spin the drum around. Just a couple of light taps. Spin it. Try to hit it in the same spot, so if you do damage the dust cover, it's only in the one spot. But it's loosening now. And then once you get it to a certain spot, like I think there's alright, I'll just get it off. Okay, so now I'm going to undo this big bolt here, so that's the next step. I just have to crack it first because my rattle gun wouldn't undo it. It was extremely tight. So take a note of that when you're doing it back up. And then I would just keep the rattle gun on there like that and let it screw itself out a bit like that. First little bit there is going to make it easier. So don't forget your nut and your washer. I've got to go on either side there. And then there's another washer on this side. Bit of a twist to get it out. And yeah, so you've got your washer there on that side. So now you can undo your two strut bolts there and there. Alright, and we go to 17mm down the bottom here. That one there. Gonna need to get a breaker bar. Careful you don't slip like I just did. Breaker bar, 17, because it's just too tight for my rattle gun for some reason. Don't know if it's my air pressure or what, but damn. Son of a bitch. Well, I had to get me a giant bar. We'll see if that can get it off. Alright. Okay, so now we've got it cracked with the big bar. You should be able to get it with your rattle gun. The other side wasn't that tight. And I just keep my nuts and bolts together like that. Throw them in a little tray. Okay, so now that we've undone that, we will go around here, and now I'll undo the ABS sensor bolt in there. It's a bit of a little bit tricky to get in there. You need an extension bar. Probably get under the car. That's what I'll do. Okay, so there's the got the sensor bolt out there. So it just simply slides out like that. You'll need that bottom bolt loosened before you get this out, because it actually it won't let it come out because it'll hit there, so you need to be able to pull the hub away to pull it out. So I just sit that over the back there. So now we'll move on to, we'll take the handbrake lead out and the drum brake assembly off. Okay, so this might be too tricky with the phone, but I'll see if I can show you here anyway. And then I'll have to, I might have to put the phone down. Okay, so just get some light in there. So there is these tiny little clips on the side here. Oh, it's just too dark to show you. Anyway, you'll see them. They need to be pried with a screwdriver out just a little bit like that. And then you can, with the other hand, because I'm holding the camera, so I'm going to have to put the camera down, but with the other hand you wiggle it out, And if it doesn't come out straight away, you can give it a little tap with a hammer whilst you're holding pressure on the little tag with the screwdriver. Okay, so what we're going to do now is disassemble the hub brake assembly so we can pull the handbrake cable out. We've got to do this anyway to press the bearings and that out. So we're going to start with these little clips here. These ones, they're a funny little thing. This retaining clip has to be pushed in, and you need some pliers on there to turn it. I don't know if I can do it one-handed because you normally need your other hand to hold the clip in, but we'll see how we go here. Okay, so I'm just putting it on there like that. Push, twist. Okay, now that they're going to spring straight off, so take note of where they go. And you can even set them out in a bit of an order on the ground. That's what I like to do, so the way that they kind of go back on the car. So the second one here. So you've just got to make sure you do push. Okay, so it's probably a good idea if you take a photo of the way the springs and all that are set up. I mean, it's not that difficult, but it definitely is tedious trying to get them back in. It's just requires a bit of time and patience. These little pins that we just took out, just undone, that's the other side from the back. They just slide in. The hole in the back there. Okay, so now the next step would be to undo this bottom spring here. So you need a good pair of pliers for this because they're really really tight. You don't want it to slip. Okay. And next we'll move on to the bigger spring at the front. Take note that when you put it back in, that little section that's got no spring on it goes over the handbrake tensioning clip. Could even use vice grips for this, so they don't spring out on the back too. You should be able to get that off when it all comes off. So the clip here is going to come off. Part of the handbrake. So when you get that out, then you can take it off the spring there like that. I try to lay it out on the ground in the order that it come off. So put the spring there. Okay, so now we've got the handbrake cable here. It's just again, it's hard to do with just one hand, but you've got to pull this spring back. Pull the spring back, and then it's got to come down. So let's attempt it with one hand. The spring is way too tight. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty straightforward. You'll get that anyway. Just use some pliers to pull the spring back and it'll just slide out. Remember to put this on first, when you put it back together. Okay, so now we have the handbrake cable loosened off. You can just come around the back here, pull it out, and you can just leave it hanging there, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we're going to pull the two top strut bolts out. They're right to come out now. That should come out fairly easy. Okay. Now, actually, if you want, I might just leave one in, just until we get this off. So, get your old axle retaining nut, and you just slip it on there a little bit because we're going to bash this. The axle slides through on a spline, but you still got to give it a little bit of a hit to loosen it. So hold it and get it through like that, and then back it off a little bit more. The further you can get it out, the easier. And once it gets near the end, it'll just slide out. Just don't hit the end of the shaft without the nut on, but because you can damage it pretty bad. So now you can pull your top bolt out. Oops. And the axle should just slide off the spline. Should. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this bar on the end here and just give it a bit of a further whack. Okay, that's got it, feels pretty easy now. Okay, there you have it, and then with your axle, bring it to the side here and sit it on the control arm there. Okay, so there we have the hub, and there is the bearings in there. Got the bearing seal, the one at the top. Just pry it out with a screwdriver, like that. The one at the top is the one with the tapered, the domed. It's the only one with the domed end, and the domed bit goes in first, like that. It's the right way. So the tapered bit here sits onto the bottom seal. Alright, so that's throwaway. Let's grab my other lever bar. And then this is the second seal down in here. Oops. There goes the camera. Alright, so there's the seal there. This seal is the smallest seal that'll be in the box. And then when you take a look at the side, you can't see here because it's all covered in grease, but there's a little spring around the middle of it. the spring goes towards the face of the hub there. So if you can see the spring, you're putting it in the wrong way. You need to turn it upside down and put it in that way. So that's throw away. Next step. There is a circlip in here, but no, I'm wrong. The circlip is on this side. Sorry, when you press that all out, so just forget about the circlip for now. So you take them two off, and then what we'll be doing, we'll be putting it in the press, and we'll be pressing out this center bit here, which is the axle, what the axle shaft slides into. So it would be the hub. Okay, so I'm over at the press now, and it's okay to press off the bits underneath. Oh, you can't really see there, but it's okay to press off this bit. It's thick enough. So what I have come up with is a big bolt and a nut. Slide that up the center. Phone down, camera rather. Okay, and I'll screw that nut on there like that. Okay, so this is the bit that I'm pressing out. It's starting to move there. Okay, now I'm going to have to put the phone down because I've got to catch the hub when it falls. There we go. Okay, so that's the hub bit that come out there. That's just the bolt that I put through. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I'm just going to show you a couple of things because I've got to go up the road and get this pressed out because my press isn't strong enough. The seal or line is just split and there's oil coming out everywhere, so I'm not going to be able to get it done here. But what you'll need to do is, I don't have one of the tools either, so I have to go up to my mechanic friends anyway, but there's like a tool and there's two semicircles and they both come in underneath this bit here because it's so fine you can't really get anything under there, and that comes in there. Two comes in on this side, it's like a half circle, and then another half circle one comes in from this side, and they bolt here and here, and you tighten up the bolt and put that in the press, and then you can press this shaft down while this bulky clamp thing is in the press, and then that little bearing sleeve comes off. Now when that bearing sleeve comes off, here you've got the bearing seal. You've got to remember, don't forget to put this seal on first before you press this into the new bearing, okay? So, and the order of this seal goes in this little spring bit that I just pulled off, facing up towards your face, Okay, so this is where a little thin strip, oh, there goes the camera. Okay, this is where the little thin screwdriver comes in handy, because around here is the circlip. So you just want to, you get your screwdriver, there's the little holes in there, you just put them in. Okay, now you should just be able to leave it with a screwdriver up and out. Might take you a couple of goes. Oops. Okay, there we go, we got it. And then once you've got it, leave it up like that with the screwdriver, slide the screwdriver across onto the other side, and then you should just be able to pull the circlip up like that. Yeah, put it under, wedge it in a bit like that. Oh, just flipped up. Okay, so that circlip's to throw away because the new one comes in the box. And then you've got your this old bearing packing wheel in here that come out. That's rubbish. And now, so the order is that when you put this in the press, this is upside down. Now this is strong enough, by the way, to support the weight to press this main bearing out in here. So when it's upside down, this is the order that you'll do it in the press. You can press it first just by sitting it on a big chunk of steel up the other way, of course, and pressing it out just that little bit there just to get it moving, and then you can move it out and support it on the sides here, because this bearing in the center is going to have to slide all the way out. So let me do that, slide that all the way out, because the bearing can only go in one way. There's like machining in here to stop it from coming through this side. So then once you've got that out, and you'll have your new bearing ready to go in, you've got to make sure everything's all nice and clean. Clean up this shaft here, clean up around in there, nice and clean, and then put this in the press that way with a big chunk of steel like sitting under there supporting it so it's flat. And then if you're not really sure how to use a press, go and pay a mechanic like $25 or something cheap to use his press, or get him to do it. It shouldn't be that much. So you put them, this is the bearing out of the other side. This is the old sleeve. I was just going to use it to show you because I can't press this one out to show you. So imagine that we've got this bearing out now, and we're going to put the new one in. So it goes in from this side down. You sit the bearing in there like that, and then the old sleeve you take out. When you press the old sleeve out, keep it, don't throw it away, because you put the bearing in and then you need to put the sleeve on top like that so you can press it down, because it's just perfectly the right size and it goes in all the way that it needs to go. And then once the bearing is in, then you've got you get your new circlip, put your circlip back in, make sure it's secure in place, turn this upside down, put it in the press, and then you've got this bit here. It'll all be nice and cleaned, and don't forget to slide your, this bit won't be on of course, because you'll take that off and you throw it away, and the new one will be in the new bearing that's pressed in here now. And then so you slide your seal on, and then you turn it upside down. Okay, so you do up your circlip. So this is how, and then once your circlip's in and your seal's on, turn it up and put it in. It'll go in that way, and then you press it in with the press all the way so it goes down the bottom. Now it's important that when you press that in, that while this is in the press, that this will be your new bearing here. It's hard to see because this is the old one, but you need to support this part of the bearing with a with a big socket or something that'll fit onto there, because this needs to be held tight. It's no good supporting it here, I found, because this just wants the inside of the bearing wants to actually press through. So you need to support it here with a big socket. I just got the biggest socket in my box and it seemed to fit without touching the side walls, so that worked out well for me. And so then you'll support the socket with a big chunk of steel in the press. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And then that's it. And then I'll see you when we put it back together. Forgot to mention too that this seal on here that I was talking about, don't forget to put it on. There should be 3 seals will come in the box, and that's the largest seal, and you'll be able to tell it apart from the other large one because it doesn't have the tapered dust protection ends on it. So yeah, you'll be able to tell which one that is. Okay, so I've just come back from the mechanics. The wheel bearing's all in. Now it should be a little bit tight like that, but not you shouldn't be able to just spin it freely. It should have a little bit of resistance there, but not too much. And we turn it over. Sorry, it's noisy, the lawnmower going there in the background. And you just put a little bit of grease around in here because that's where your seals are going to sit. High temperature grease, and then also too on the axle spline, just give that a bit of a nice grease up there. Okay, so you got your bearing seals like that. You don't want to hit them with anything too hard, obviously, but the end of this socket's nice and round. That's the only reason why I'm getting away with using that. Make sure it goes in nice and square. Okay, then you've got your other seal, which that dome tapered part goes in first. Got a rubber mallet, use a rubber mallet for this. Alright, now we're ready to put it back on. Okay, so now we put the nut on as far as we can get it. Get our 32mm socket. Go on with that, just a couple of little taps at the end, and then we can't go on any further until we put the hub on, and we can put the handbrake on, and then we can get our torque wrench out and tighten that up. So alright, so I'll show you the rear brake cable. You're going to need like a little pair of vice grips, and you pull the spring back. Put the vice grips in place like that. So, handbrake. Oh, sorry. It's going to go on this side like this.
So then yeah, you just slip it in like that in the groove, like that, and then snap your vice grip off and you're done. Okay, now these need to be lined up with the little groove up the top and a little groove down the bottom. It's not so crucial because they'll move around a little bit. And then you stick your pin in through from the back, the retaining pin. So yeah, they're a little bit tedious. And you got your spring on, and this clip, sometimes you can get it on by just using your fingers if you're lucky. You don't need to use, so you push and twist like that. Okay, so I was lucky with that one, I got it on just using my fingers. Alright, and then you do the same with the other side and assemble the springs in the reverse way that you took them off. So that little thing will go in there, and yeah, as long as you took a photo before you pull it apart, you'll be right with that. Alright, so now we've got the brake on, the hub on, and we've got the car in handbrake on, sorry. I was going to say car in park. So yeah, we just get our torque wrench out now, and we torque it up. Handbrake's not on tight enough. So that's it, just torque it like that. There you have it, it's pretty much all done. So all you got to do now is put the brake light on, the ABS sensor in, and then bleed the brakes. And then all done. Thanks for watching. I hope that you got something out of this video and it helped you out if you were stuck in a bit of a tricky situation, or maybe you didn't have enough money to take your car to the mechanics to get your wheel bearings done. So I hope I helped you out enough step by step so it was easy enough you could do it yourself. And sorry for the camera shake. I've only made a couple of videos, so my filming's a little bit shaky, so forgive me for that. But if you feel inspired about this video and you want to make a video, put it up on YouTube, you might help someone out. That's why I was inspired to make this video, because I've been helped out a few times, been stuck and not being able to figure something out, and I found a free video on YouTube, so it really helped, and that's what inspired me to make this video for free. So it was really good, feels good to give back, and yeah, we've all got to help each other out in this world. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Catch you later.